Breaking It Down with Frank MacKay. This is 103.9 LI News Radio.
I'd like to welcome everyone to Breaking It Down. Our very special guest today is a wonderful, talented performer, and everyone knows her name and knows her work. Connie Stevens. How are you, Connie?
I'm good, Frank. Congratulations on this big spread of a radio show you've got.
Yeah, well, I don't know about all that. I mean, we're on a bunch of stations, but it's coming from you. That's certainly a compliment. And we're currently on Long Island here, and you didn't grow up too far from here, and that was in Brooklyn.
And I was in the Long Island Music Hall of Fame last year.
Yeah, I know. I was there cheering you on, and we.
Thanks. It was so wonderful. It did feel like home. It really did. I'm from Brooklyn originally.
And what part of Brooklyn?
Ridgewood.
Ridgewood.
The Bushwick section.
And you're a child of divorce, just like I am.
Yes.
And was your father close by? I assume you lived with your mom, right?
No, I lived with my grandparents, actually. I lived with my Italian grandparents, spoke only Italian till I was 5.
Right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And my mom remarried, and my dad was on the road. He was a fantastic musician.
Well, that's where you get your talent from.
I hope so. He was pretty good.
Now, let me give you a real name here, and I know people have said this much better than me. Conchetta Rosalie Ann Ingolia?
You did it good.
All right.
Yeah.
That's Connie Stevens. Is much easier. I want to thank you on behalf of everyone for shortening your name, because that would be real hard to say 10 times fast. But
I used to make a joke in Vegas. I'd say I used to put my real name on the marquee, but it fell down.
Connie, you went to Catholic schools. You went to boarding schools?
I did. I did the first few years, yeah.
Which ones? You didn't go to Danville in Pennsylvania, did you?
No, I went in New Jersey, Mary Hope of Christians in Paterson, New Jersey. Then I went to St. Barbara's, and out here I went to Sacred Heart. And my education, my formal education, was in Catholic school. And I got to tell you, when I came out to California, they didn't know what to do with me. I was so smart from going to those schools. Well, seriously, we were so far ahead of what they were teaching.
Yeah, I mean,
in California.
Well, scholastically, and what about socially?
Socially, I was very protected. Older brothers, and Dad, and I had my head in the clouds for being a movie star and singing and dancing with chiffon dresses, so I didn't have time for anything else at the time.
And some would say, "How dare you dream of those dreams?" But you got there.
Yeah, really.
You certainly did very well for yourself. But also, not to touch on a nerve here, but if I'm reading this correctly, you witnessed a murder at 12 years old.
10 and a half.
10 and a half. My God.
Uh-huh.
Was that a friend or a family member?
No. It was on the street, and it was pretty brutal, and it sort of made me a little catatonic and a little afraid of the world and what have you. I did a film, actually. My first epic film is called Saving Grace, B. Jones. It is in release. It is in on demand, and it plays at different theaters. But it took place in 1951. I went to live to get over that with some friends of my family in a little hamlet in Missouri, which I had never left Brooklyn.
Did you?
And so I lived there for about 4 months, and it turned out to be worse than the murder.
Wow. What did you fly there, or did you take a bus?
I flew there, and those are the days where it took 8 hours to get anywhere.
Let me just remind everyone that we are with the wonderful, wonderful Connie Stevens, and it's an honor to talk to you, Connie. What a career you're having and have had. What are you doing? What are you doing now? Are you working on a project?
I am. I'm taking a play out. First of all, I'm going to Kansas City very excited. My youngest child, Trisha Lee Fisher, is going to be in it as well, so we should have some good times. And we're going to see if this play could hold up on Broadway. So that's what we're doing. We're at the New Theater in Kansas City, and it's called The Miracle on Division Street. And then after that, I'm going to Italy to do a film, which I'm excited about, in Rome. And, I'll just keep going.
Now, they say if it plays in Peoria, is that basically what we're doing here? You're checking it out in Kansas City, and if it does well there, you hope to move it to Broadway?
Right. The producers do, yes.
And do you have a stake in it?
Not as yet. I will after I've worked the play and put some magic in and see what happens.
Now, you mentioned going to Italy. Do you speak fluent Italian?
No, I don't. I understand mostly everything, and if I'm forced to speak, I will. My subconscious comes up,
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, my next question, if you did speak it, how much work have you gotten speaking Italian? Have you ever spoken Italian?
Never. As a matter of fact, I'm so Irish looking, so blonde and blue-eyed, nobody even thinks of me. They think of Connie Francis as the Italian girl. I'm much more Italian than Connie Francis. I assure you.
Yeah. What do you consider yourself more of, a singer or an actress?
I don't know. It's a toss-up. But I do love the acting profession, and I feel that I am a student of, I'm an observationist, so I think that that's probably because I'm a good actress.
Connie Stevens, everyone, is our very special guest. You mentioned, almost having stars in your eyes when you were a young girl.
Yes.
Who did you hope to be like? Who did you look at on the screen and say, that's who I want to be?
Well, that's what's kind of funny, because my idols were June Allison and Ava Gardner.
Wow.
I wanted to be each.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, and they're both wonderful. Both were wonderful actresses.
They are.
Did you get to know?
Different.
Did you get to know them well?
I did not.
Is June? And pardon my ignorance on this. Is June Allison?
She's gone.
Yeah, she's
gone.
Just recently. I mean, not too long ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. But the most exciting thing was one day on a very large charity event, she called me at my home, and I swear to you, I almost had a heart attack. Now, seriously, think about it. It's just like I couldn't even talk for a while, and she kept asking me if I was there.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's an amazing situation.
So that's always the way. And of course, Esther Williams. I was a product of those films that made you feel good and made you want to sing and dance and wear chiffon dresses and get the guy in the end.
Yeah, happy endings.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about what gave you a break. What was your first? What you would consider your big break?
I was discovered by Jerry Lewis, and I was put in a film called Rockabye Baby when Debbie Reynolds vacated that role. Ironically, she was pregnant for her second child, and they were looking for a young actress, and I got the role. And I think it's because I always got the joke. I've worked with all of the great comedians in a lifetime, from Bob Hope to, Wendy and Me. I did with George Burns. I was on the road with every top comedian, whether they opened for me or we worked in Vegas together. And I just always got the joke. I have a funny bone, and Jerry saw it, and that was the real break of my career.
Now, Bob Hope is someone that, if I remember correctly, you did a lot of the USO shows with him.
I did. I traveled the whole world with Bob for many years.
How many shows would you say you've done with him?
Everybody asks me that. I really don't know, but because I did a lot of bases, I did a lot of, I have been on a submarine, aircraft carrier, just everywhere around the world, every major base we've ever had.
Have you been
So,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so I would say, I don't know, 1,000. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, are you a statistics type person? Do you or do you?
No, and I'm not very nostalgic till lately. You know what I mean? I always look forward to what's going to happen next. And lately, I think when you have 8 grandchildren, you get a little bit more nostalgic.
Yeah. Do any of them have the bug? Any of the grandchildren or the children?
Well, my daughter Jolie Fisher.
Well, we know that, right? We know she does. But
Yeah,
what about
and
any of
my
the others?
daughter Trisha Lee has been. Gosh, she got discovered by Burt Reynolds in a picture called Stick, and she's a working actress and singer. And the grandchildren, it looks like my granddaughter Skylar, who's on point right now, is pretty talented.
How
She
old
gets the leads, in all the plays, and she really does great.
How old is she?
She's 12.
Connie
She's going to be 13.
Connie Stevens, everyone, if you're just tuning in, the wonderful, wonderful actress, singer, legendary Connie Stevens is here. And I'm sure everyone asked you about Elvis. How could somebody not ask you about Elvis Presley?
That's true.
Yeah.
He was the handsomest, the sweetest, the most fun to be with, a very live, spirited guy, and loved music, all the things that I loved, except having 9 guys around all the time. That didn't sit well with me all the time. But we were friends to the very, very end.
Now, he called you out of the blue. Am I reading that right, or did I hear that right?
Yeah, he did.
And you weren't expecting this, and just out of nowhere, he called you, and he just asked you on a date? Is that how it happened?
Yes, and at the time, he hadn't exploded into the Elvis that we all know of today. He was a young act happening, and I was as well. So therefore, we were kind of even.
Yeah.
In careers, and so we could be ourselves and have a lot of fun. We enjoyed each other's company, and my dad liked him the best of all the guys I ever went out with.
Was he? Were you aware of who he was at the time? How early was it?
Yeah, I was aware of who he was, but not who he became.
Right. Okay. So he wasn't. He was on his way.
He was on his way, right?
And well,
Same with Eddie Cochran. I loved Eddie Cochran. Had some fun times with Eddie, and never knew, the full extent of his career because we were young kids trying to make our way.
Now, having said all of that, did it help both of your careers by dating each other just automatically in the press? And certainly
Not really. We kept it out of the press.
The media.
In fact, we kept it out of the press for many, many, many years.
You realize you couldn't do that nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah, they follow you around. And
now, how would you like having the career that you've had with the 24-hour media cycle, 24-hour news cycle? Would you enjoy that, or are you more private than that?
I'm more private than that, but when I'm out there to do that job, I do it wholeheartedly, and I love it, especially the people. I love that part of it. Always have.
Have you had troubles with the press? I know a lot of certainly people of your.
No, as a matter of fact, they've protected me most of my life, even when I had a situation where some 20-year-old broke in my home, and I could have been murdered, but I wasn't, and they even kept that out of the papers. So I have that facility of people wanting to take care of me, and that's good. I like that.
Yeah, well, that's certainly respectful. I don't think you'd get that nowadays. I just don't think that would
Yeah,
happen.
I don't know. I don't know. It's such a different world, Frank.
It is. Connie Stevens is our very special guest, and we have a few more minutes with her, and we appreciate your time here, Connie. And if we could, do you have a website that people can go to and follow what you do?
Oh, sure. Connie Stevens .com, ConnieStevens.org, Forever Spring, Connie Stevens, the beauty system from my own company, which I have a surviving cosmetic and skincare company that is now 29 years old.
Hmm. How do you do with that? You do very well?
It did really, really, really well when it first started, but everything wanes. Everything has its purpose. We still do very well, however. And the people who get hooked on it don't leave us. We have over 350,000 women who still use the product faithfully.
Connie, are you involved with any social media? Do you have like a Facebook or a Twitter or something like that?
I do, but I refuse to be, you can get so caught up in that stuff that you don't have time for the grandkids and for the things that you always did love, which is the beach and the animals and what have you, and music. And if you take too much time doing all of that, you find that it's really kind of wasteful. Unless you have something to say, I just listen and watch and what have you.
Let me ask you about a couple of the shows that you did early on. For example, Love American Style. Do you remember doing that?
I do. That was fun.
Yeah. And if I'm correct, Happy Days grew out of
No, I didn't, but I worked with all those guys. That was my era.
No, I knew.
To be with Bill Bixby and all those guys. It was great.
No, what I was going to say is that that Happy Days actually grew from an episode or a segment of Love American Style, and it really came out of there. And a lot of people think American Graffiti was where it came from. It actually it was a segment, and I'm sure it was based on the feelings of American Graffiti. But Love Go ahead.
I am such a nostalgic person for that particular movie. I recently met and became friends with Candy Clark, who is the young lady in American Graffiti, the young actress who was so cute. And he says, did anybody ever tell you look like Connie Stevens? First time I saw that, I'm telling you, Frank, I fell off the chair in the movie.
Well, that's why I brought it up, kind of. We had her not too long ago on the show.
Oh, really?
She's wonderful. Candy Clark is wonderful.
She is adorable and very bright. And glad to know that we're friends.
And do you want to know something? She was nominated for an Academy Award for American Graffiti. No one else was. I mean, Ron Howard wasn't, Cindy Williams wasn't, Harrison Ford, had a small role in that. Richard Dreyfuss wasn't, but Candy Clark was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, imagine, out of all people. But
I've got to read that.
Yeah, she's really a wonderful, wonderful actress. Who do you like nowadays? And if you're just tuning in, Connie Stevens is our very special guest. Who do you like nowadays, whether it's TV or musically?
I think they're doing some really, really fine work. McConaughey's performance was incredible. Kate Blanchett. They're getting it right, and Mark Damon. I love Brad Pitt. I think he and Tom Cruise are just astounding young guys and consistently good.
How about TV? How about TV?
TV? I kind of tend to watch Rain. I like those kind of epic shows, and I also like Strike Back and very political-oriented shows.
Are you
about how the world is today.
Are you into politics?
Yes.
Can you say how you're registered, or you want to keep that private?
Well, I think it's private. I'm sort of for the world. I'm a worldist,
Okay.
and I'm also very veteran oriented. I intend to work for the veterans for the rest of my life, I think that's where I can do my most good, and they're sort of the apple of my eye.
We'll never be able to repay any one of them for what they do, but I mean,
That's right.
certainly we could
And
try.
having seen millions of them in a lifetime, that's where I'm going to spend my time.
We have about a minute left with the wonderful, the legendary Connie Stevens. Connie, what can you share with us? What's the rest of your year look like?
Well, July I'll probably be up in Wyoming. I spend July and August usually in Wyoming. And then I will go to Italy to do the film. And I'm also doing a film with Adelson and Josh Brolin and James Franco. When it goes, I believe, is August, and I'm not sure where we're shooting. Maybe Chicago.
Very active.
That's going to take me till the fall. And then hopefully take the whole family on a Christmas cruise on Disney.
Well, you got a lot of room on those cruises because you got 8 grandchildren.
Right.
Connie Stevens, you are wonderful, and thanks for being here. And hopefully we could have a part 2 and a part 3 of this.
Oh, thanks, Frank, and thanks everybody for sustaining my career and being so kind to me over all the years.
Connie Stevens, everyone, the wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and the talented and the very active Connie Stevens. Thanks again, Connie.
Thanks, Frank. Good luck to you.